Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Hey there, and welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your host, Rob,
Randy,
and we are
the Happy, Healthy guys. What is going on?
Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with us. Randy, right now the stats show that 93.7% of people in the United States have a metabolic problem. Not only do the stats show that, but right now what it's saying is that in 2023 alone, 1.7% of the people in the United States, which is about 3.3 million people, were prescribed a semaglutide medication in order to be able to help them lose weight. If you don't know what these GLP-1 drugs are, we're talking about the Ozempics, the Wegovy's, all the things that have been around for the last 20 years, but are now being marketed for weight loss because they know that there is profit to be made. So what they're doing is looking at weight loss as if it is a diagnosis and there is something wrong with you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really screwed up. If we're going to be honest, it's hard to believe that we are this chronically ill and sick. In fact, that data that you quoted, that science, is actually even worse than that because that data, it's almost 5 years old and it hasn't gotten better. So if it hadn't gotten better, it may be over 95% of Americans are metabolically sick. And like you said earlier, we've already been giving these drugs out now for over 20 years. These just didn't hit the market. They're now just being driven towards weight loss and a diagnosis. But if these drugs were so magical, how is it that diabetes is worse right now? Obesity clearly isn't any better. So none of these chronic illnesses, specifically diabetes, that these drugs were, quote, created to treat are not any better. So how's that a good solution? And we always talk about this. If you give drugs to a healthy person, it makes them sick. How is giving drugs to a sick person going to make them healthy? Dr. Rob, it's impossible.
It is, because right here I'm looking at the side effects of these medications. What it says, side effects include, not limited to, thyroid tumors, pancreatitis, changes in vision, hypoglycemia, gallbladder issues, kidney failure, and cancer, right? So that's what it does for people, is it's not making them healthier, it's making them sicker. But here's the problem. The problem that we're facing right now is that we've been dumbed down, okay? We've been dumbed down to become victims, right? Victims of health, victims of disease, because we've been taught to not get to the cause of the problem, but just treat the symptom. Mm-hmm. And people are lazier now than ever before. So what's happened, my belief is them going, you know what? You don't need to do anything. You don't need to change your lifestyle. You don't need to change the quality of the foods that are going into your body. All you got to do is just take this pill right here and you'll lose the weight. The person wants to lose the weight, but you know what they don't want to do? They don't want to do the work that it's going to take to change their lifestyle habit that got them into the situation that they're in the first place. And so now they're looking for a quick and easy solution. But here's the problem with that. The problem with that is, you know what? There's going to be a consequence to be paid for these actions.
Yeah, they always say you can't medicate yourself out of a lifestyle issue. Right? It's just not possible. And I think, listen, you're 100% right. I agree with everything you just said. But it's really been a process of grooming from day one. And we hear this all the time. We still hear it today. And even when we were, clinicians seeing patients for years in our offices, we would hear people come in and their doctors had already convinced them that their health problems were because they were getting older or that it ran in their family. So it was like these two phenomenons that there's nothing that they could do about, right? So it's a permanent thing. And if it's permanent, you're now a victim. And now you're suspect or you're vulnerable to these doctors' recommendations. And if they can basically enslave you into the mindset that something's permanent, that there's nothing that you can do except take these drugs, I think that's part of the problem. And we were talking earlier before jumping on today. I remember, and you may have some of the same memories, and I would love to hear your thoughts here. But I remember as a kid, the grooming process, you don't realize it when you're young, but you can see it now and look back on it, and you can see what they were doing, the big pharmaceutical industry, the medical industrial complex. They've been blasting in our ear holes since we were young, but they would talk about how there was this program, I believe it was even with Nancy Reagan, and it would just say no to drugs. Mm-hmm. Did y'all have that? I mean, it was obviously a program across the country. And I remember being at like a track and field day. You buy the candy. You even open up the box of lemon heads or the Johnny Appleseed or the whatever those other ones were, the candies there. And on the inside of the box tab, it would say no to drugs, which was, hey, that's a great message. But the Say No to Drug campaign wasn't about saying no to drugs. It was about saying no to, quote, illegal drugs. So what they had done is they had started to create a divide. They started creating a conditioning of our minds that these are the good drugs, the ones you get from your doctor, the ones you get from the pharmacy, the ones you get over the counter, and then the ones on the street that are the dangerous drugs, the illegal drugs. These are the ones that are killing everybody. So they were basically conditioning us from day one. We would even see commercials on TV. They'd fry an egg and they'd say, this is your brain on drugs.
Yep, I remember those.
Yeah, I remember these commercials. So they were talking about the dangers of drugs, but what they wanted to do is make us feel safe, like going to our doctor and taking prescription drugs or over-the-counter drugs were okay, yet every single illegal drug on the market, they were once legal prescription drugs: PCP, LSD, heroin, cocaine, ecstasy. All these drugs were literally being prescribed by doctors, and then they became illegal after you find out how many people's lives are being destroyed. So the gateway drug, and we're not advocating this drug, marijuana, they say that's a gateway drug. Well, screw that, man. You know what the gateway drug is?
What's that?
It's vaccines. It's antibiotics. It's Dimetap. It's Tylenol. It's all the fever reducers. It's all the drugs and the things that we were given from the day we were born until the time we actually wake up that has taught us that these drugs are good. Those are the gateway drugs because they give you permission as a kid to go, you know what? I never got it, by the way. It's like, why are you saying say no to these drugs, but then these drugs are the ones that are good for us? It's either a drug and it's a poison or it's not a toxin chemical. And there isn't a divide there, but that was very strategic. And I think we can look around at our culture now and we can see there has been an educational process in place from day one that has taught us this drug culture. It doesn't even make any sense that when you're in your worst moment, you'd reach for a pill, a potion, a shot, or something from the outside.
Or even be proactive to begin with. Excuse me, to not get into that situation to begin with. And it's still rampant now.
Yeah.
I mean, even with having 3 kids and seeing that every single year in school, they have Red Ribbon Week. And Red Ribbon Week is, every day they dress up as something different, or that, whatever it is, like around Halloween time. And that week is there to just say no to drugs. And see right now with this Red Ribbon Week is that they're glamorizing the fact that kids can wear an outfit every single different day of the week in order to be able to say no to drugs, getting them to be able to see that prescription medications and or over-the-counter medications are somehow okay. So when you walk into the CVS pharmacy or the Walgreens, everything in that store ahead of the actual window is okay. And then everything behind that glass crack house window is not okay unless you went to your doctor first and your doctor said it was okay. So somehow now the crack house attendant is actually our medical doctor, not even the pharmacist.
This has to be so confusing to our children. I remember being very confusing to me because they're telling you say no to drugs, and on the way out the door, little Johnny, here's your Adderall that you need to be taking for the day. Here's your Dimetap, if that's even still a drug that I used to take all the time as a kid. Hey, you've got fever, stay at home from school today. Let's give you your Tylenol. We got to get your fever down. Literally programmed with drugs and antibiotics and vaccines and fever reducers and Adderall and Ritalin and all this nonsense going, hey, say no to drugs. And like you said, if you get caught on the street with these drugs, you're going to go to prison. You can't sell this stuff, but your doctor is your drug dealer in the community. And there's a pharmacy on every street corner. Dr. Rob, we're in a drug culture now. And the message, say no to drugs, needs to be completely across the board. Stop poisoning yourself. You can't poison people into health. You sure as heck can't poison kids into health.
Yeah, you know what? As you were saying that, I was thinking about we traveled a lot to Europe last year, and it was interesting because, and I had made the comment, I go, it seems like there's a pharmacy everywhere. And the reason it seemed like there was a pharmacy everywhere is because there, along the street, it'll say like pharmacia or pharmacy. Here in the United States, we actually disguise it.
Yeah.
Right. So we're trying to hide it as a CVS or hide it as a Walgreens or hide it as a grocery store. Well, guess what's on every single street corner in the United States? A grocery store that has a pharmacy in it. Yep. And so that right there goes to show us that, you know what? They've been trying to dupe us. They've been trying to trick us. And we're here to say that, you know what? You can't do that anymore. So let's talk about some solutions.
But here's the great news, if there was any with this previous conversation. If you could drug people into health, because we have more access to drugs than ever before, and most of them are the legal ones. If you could drug a society into health, Dr. Rob, America would be the healthiest country in the world.
You got that right.
We're about, 3 to 5% of the world's population. And depending which data you look at, we consume anywhere from 60, 70, over 80% of the world's drugs. That's insane. We are literally killing ourselves every single day. And it's now become unconscious because we don't even think about it. Even with that you were telling me earlier about that lady you were out with last night, the friends that you were with. Wasn't like a group of people and they were talking about going home.
Oh, yeah.
What were you telling me? I may be butchering the story.
No, so I just went to an art gallery opening.
That's what it was.
And then had dinner afterwards. But even within the conversation, you can't have a conversation with any group of people without health coming up at some point. Yeah. And one of the people that were in this group of friends had said, you know what, I'm going to go home, take an ibuprofen, and then go to bed. It's been a long week. I'm really tired. And she said it as if it was just, I'm going to go to the bathroom and then go to bed. And so it's just so commonplace. It's really in unconsciousness that's been created where people aren't even consciously aware of what it is that they're doing. So really the solutions start with being proactive, and that proaction should start with your mind. We say always step one is you've got to change your belief. And so your belief should really be that I believe that my body was created to be healing. My body was created to be well. My body was created to be healthy, because when you can start off with that baseline foundation versus my body was created to be diseased, then you can be able to go, okay, so what is it? What are the things that I'm doing right now that are not creating an environment for my body to be able to heal?
Yeah. And
so then we can be able to remove those things that aren't giving my body an environment where it can be able to heal chemically, physically, and emotionally. So
that's what set me free. That's what helped me break out of all this medical propaganda that's been baked into our psyche since the time we hit planet Earth, or even before, was really what you said. It's knowing that health is the normal, disease is the abnormal. Health and disease are the exact same thing. It's your body doing the right thing under the circumstances. And once you know that your body is a self-healing organism, that all healing happens from above, down, inside, and out, now you look at everything differently, because the greatest doctor in the world, Dr. Rob, it ain't you, it ain't me, it's not the doctor up in New York City or halfway across the world. It's the doctor inside each and every one of us. This doctor does not need help healing. This doctor needs no interference. So we talk about solutions. Let's go down that road so people can see, what can I start doing to help improve my metabolic profile? Because when we talk about metabolism, we're talking about every single chronic illness has a metabolic component. So when you look at all these diseases, chronic illnesses, diabetes and heart disease and cancers and strokes and all these debilitating diseases they diagnose us with, they're all downstream of poor metabolic function.
And I love how you said that, because one of the things that we always talk about is the quality of your life is really built on the quality of the questions that you ask. And the question that you just asked is, how do I heal my metabolic profile? How do I heal my metabolism? Well, the first thing that you can do to do that is to go to metabolismscore.com. So we created this quiz so that you can be able to see what your metabolic function even looks like. So if you've got a problem there, then we can be able to help give you some solutions to be able to overcome that. So that's one place that you can be able to go. And then all of our solutions, whenever we're talking about foods that you can eat, because people always ask us, that's the first thing that everybody asks us, right? Is what can I eat in order to have a faster metabolism? Yeah. So we've made that really simple. So what's our acronym for making sure that we're eating the right foods?
Yeah, no, this is great. So it's the acronym is SERF, SERF. It's simply eat real food. It's not sexy. This is not nuclear physics. We're not splitting atoms here. This is basic, foundational, ancestral nutrition where you're feeding your body real food. And so some of you may think we even spoke here in the Dallas area at IBM, and we were going through a lot of this content. We even had somebody ask us, so where do you get real food? Great question. First off, here's how we would describe real food. Take the piece of food, let's say it's a protein bar or an apple, you set it on the counter and you walk away for 2 weeks. If you come back and the apple looks the same or the protein bar looks the same, then it's not real food. I can promise you, you come back 2 weeks later on an apple, it's going to be rotting. There'll be dark spots. That protein bar, which may be masquerading as a health food, is processed. It's not real food because it would sit there for 100 years and never go bad. That is not food.
I just had this happen.
Okay, what happened?
So last week I wanted to make a caprese salad. So I bought some, the stuff for the caprese salad, got some basil. I love basil. Yeah. And a couple nights ago, I was going to make another caprese salad. And I just got this like last Thursday. Okay. And so not even a week later, I go to the bag that the basil was in and it was all molded. Yeah. And so that was a reminder. I kind of laughed because I'm like, oh, that's a reminder that was actually real food. So that caprese salad did not get the basil on it, but that's literally what real food actually is. Yeah, so,
we actually, right to our left, we have a McDonald's cheeseburger and French fries. Clearly not real food. It's like 8 years old, and it's just hard like plastic. There's no stink. There's no mold. So that's really a test you can identify if something's real. But when you think about it, it's just real natural foods. It's proteins, it's vegetables, it's fruits, it's things that when you eat them, your body knows what to do with them. It's not fake. It's not been processed and bleached and deodorized and flavored and sweetened and put into a really pretty package and then slap a health food banner on it. Real food will never come in a box, a can, or be ultra processed. In fact, there was even a study done. We've cited it many, many times. You may be familiar with it if you're listening. It was that study, Dr. Rob. It was out of the University of North Carolina, I believe, Chapel Hill. And what they had done, they had taken two groups, and one group got ultra processed, hyper palatable food, and then one group got simply eat real food. And between the two groups, what they found was the processed food group were insatiable. They could not get full. So they were eating more calories and more food, obviously trying to get nutrients that they were devoid of, where the real food group ate less food because they were nourished, they were satiated and didn't need any more food because you were giving the body what it needs. So just showed you right there, when you eat these foods, they make you hungry, they're devoid of nutrients. And if your body's eating calories and not getting nutrients, you're going to overconsume looking for that because you're not getting it. And the signals in your body, which is very smart, they're going to keep you hungry until you can finally get something that's going to give you real nutrition, vitamins, minerals, bioavailable real food nutrition.
Yeah. So when you're not eating that real food, that's why many of you will, and we had this question when we were at IBM is, why is it that I always want sweets? This is why you always want sweets. You're going to want to continue to keep on putting more calories in. And if you go back and listen to previous episodes, we talk about the science of why that happens. So go back, even what we just talked about, the science of this on the podcast that we put out, that'll go out on Friday, which is actually today when we're recording this one right here. So definitely listen to that because we want to make sure that you understand why these things are happening. But for today, we just want you to give you some really simple, practical things. So a good rule of thumb is if you can't pronounce what it is that's on the label, then it doesn't need to be in your body. That's going to be processed. So it should really only have a few ingredients. So if you were going to eat a potato chip, for example, it should have potatoes, sea salt, and whatever the good oil is that they would be cooking it in.
Not the hard healthy oil.
Not the hard healthy oil. The hard healthy, in quotation marks, hard healthy would be canola oil, safflower oil, soybean oil, all of these different things. And people are so just unconscious about this. I was even having a conversation with a lady last night at that art gallery opening because I was asking questions about the oils. They also have candles there that you can go there and make these candles. And she's really beautiful, just a really lovely, beautiful person. And I just got to talking with her, and I asked her, I said, okay, so what oils are used in these different scents, the candles and those kinds of things? And she's like, that's a great question. I don't know if I know. And she asked why. And I said, well, because one of the things is we don't ever want to put seed oils on our bodies. And I got to be able to educate her on that. And she was really receptive to that, which was great. And she goes, well, I think it's coconut oil, which there's nothing wrong with coconut oil.
Sure.
She's like, I think it's coconut oil and soybean oil. I'm like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And so she just didn't know. And so once I said, she's like, you know what? Thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm going to make sure that the company that makes this, I want to find out if I can be able to get an oil that doesn't have that soybean oil in it, because I think that's important as well. So people are waking up.
They are. And that's important to think about. That's just one little thing. But when you burn or cook or heat seed oil, acrolein is that breakdown product that you can smell it. You ever walk by a restaurant and you start smelling all the grease and the oil? You're literally breathing all this burn off acrolein, which is a breakdown product that's toxic to the mitochondria and the human metabolism. So that maybe even, let's jump into that, because obviously ultra processed food is destroying your metabolism. But usually when you're eating ultra processed food, guess what ultra processed food has in it?
Has all the stuff that you don't want to be
seed
in there.
oils.
It's going to have the seed oil in it. Not to mention the seed oil, it's going to have a crap ton of sugar in it as well.
That processed sugar. Yeah,
exactly. So those are right there. Those two things being metabolism disruptors. So those, you just want to stay away from those. It doesn't get any more simple than that, to be honest with you. So if you're somebody that's stuck, you've got health issues going on, you don't know why they're there, just simply eating real food and eliminating those ultra processed foods, that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, because and the great news is when you eliminate fake food and you incorporate and eat real food, you can eat as much real food as you want, because your body will actually tell you that you're full. There's hormone signaling to your brain. When you're eating quality protein, there's obviously other hormones involved there. If you're not eating quality protein, there's a hormone messenger called TGF-21 it comes from your liver, and it tells you need to get more protein. And until you get it, you're insatiable. You can't get full. And a lot of times to try to get full, you're grabbing more ultra processed food, which isn't going to meet the need. So there's a real phenomenon that happens when you're eating real food with satiety and nourishing your body with real bioavailable nutrients. So I love not having to count calories or points or being in calorie prison. I know that I get to eat as much food as I want, because when I eat real food, I don't overeat real food, because my body will tell me to stop eating. And that's called being metabolically flexible, being metabolically healthy, being fat adapted, being insulin sensitive, having a strong metabolic profile, which for me in my history with late stage cancer, go back and listen to our pilot episode, overcoming that almost 15 years ago. I'm not playing around, Dr. Rob. It'll get your attention when you lose your health. And if you've ever lost your health, at that point, if you're not ready to do something at that point, it may be too late. For me, I'm like, all right, I've got to blow up what I've been doing and relook at everything. And it's really exciting to me to know that, hey, I can nourish my body. Health is the normal. Cancer wasn't making me sick. Diseases don't make us sick. Disease is dyshyphenase. It's an inside-out process. It's an interference, and toxic food is a huge interference to the healing process.
Yeah, so use our wake-up call
to
be your wake-up call. Don't wait till it happens to you, because I can tell you, being down for 10 months, not being able to walk because the inflammation in my back was so bad, and then gaining 65 pounds and being, that heavy, that unhealthy, you know what? Don't wait till that happens to you. That's if we can tell you to do anything at all, it's just don't wait. Take action steps daily that are moving you forward in alignment with whatever your health goal is. Heck, write it on paper. What is your health goal? You know what? Do you want to lose weight? All right, I want to lose 20 pounds. Write that down, but then make sure that you're taking the steps every single day to move yourself in that direction. If you want to be out of pain, well, then write that down. You know what? I want to feel great, but also make sure that you're putting action steps to that. And so that right there is all you got to do is just do that every single day. But you know what? I think that's the challenge for people is people don't like to do that because they get bored with it. They don't see immediate results. When you don't see immediate results, you start getting bored, which is why we put our program together, because we know that when somebody follows our program, they're going to start getting results immediately. Then we can be able to coach them along, and it keeps them on the program, and they end up finishing the program and they're down 15, 20, 25, 30 pounds in 5 weeks. It's because they're seeing those results. But you know what? If you don't do the program, you know what? That's okay too. Just make sure that you're doing something every single day to move forward.
Yeah. When you say the program, if you guys who don't know, we have a metabolism program. It's a 2-month system to basically wake up, retrain, reset, and heal your metabolic profile. We're seeing incredible results with reduced inflammation. You're sleeping better. We're detoxing you from seed oil. That's a huge thing. Removing forever chemicals, getting your body burning the calories it should be burning. And it can all happen in a couple of months. So if you have interest there, like you said, go to metabolismscore.com. Let's see where you're at. Let's figure out why your metabolism is off. And let's help create some real solutions for you, not just to lose weight or to have 6-pack abs for the summer, which is great. But this is about being your absolute best. And that's going to be impossible if you're relying on a medical system that has no training in health, that is literally equipped to only treat disease with drugs and surgery. You're responsible for your health. Be your own best advocate. We're here to support you, and never forget the greatest doctors on the inside.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this before March the 25th, and you're like, yeah, I'm interested. You know what? March the 25th, we're starting a Happy Healthy weight loss kickstart your metabolism challenge. All you got to do is go to h2thinchallenge.com. You can register for it. It's free to register. We've got great bonuses in there as well. And we're going to be giving you our best stuff for 3 days, right? So we're going to tell you, we're going to connect all of the dots for you. So get into that challenge if you're listening to this before March the 25th. If not, like I said, go to metabolismscore.com. We just want to make sure that we're always giving you great content. And if there's anything that you ever want to hear about on the podcast, go to the H2 Life on Instagram, DM us there. Let us know what it is that you want to listen to. We're always here for you. We love you. And do you have any closing remarks?
No, I had forgotten even to mention the challenge happening the 25th. And I just got really excited because that's our chance to go live with you, and we give you our absolute best content. We're going to dive deep and show you how to get real results real quick, lose weight, keep it off forever, never get it back, and completely change your metabolism. So yeah, I would like to echo your sentiments and equally invite any of you who want to come join us to be a part of that. We love you guys. We'll be back again soon. And please share this podcast, download it, rate it, review it. This message needs to get out for no other reason than, listen, people are sick, they're hurting, they're depressed, they're really praying for a miracle. We maybe could be that miracle. You could be that miracle. Sometimes a story is really even more valuable than food.
There you go. So thanks for listening to the Real Talk episode of our podcast. You guys have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.